Jack Smith.
Apes. You goddamn bunch of dirty ass apes. This is you know who. Jack Smith. Your internet friend. And yeah, I know I've talked about religion before, but there's some stupidity that never gets old. The Pope recently, the pontiff, the 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 Gandalf of clerical pedophilia, chimed in on climate change once again. Now, we gotta wonder. I mean, the Pope has proven himself to be a socialist with his, you know, globalism, his pro-globalism expostulations, spouting, and his anti-Trump rhetoric, and shit like that. But I have this weird feeling that he is trying to adapt the methodology of Islam in order to make Catholicism more popular. Trying to aim the common denominator down, which is, I don't know, I mean, why people find religion when they haven't been raised that way, or if they've realized how ridiculous it is. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of people who are just looking for something, you know. A lot of the Catholics I know, and even some Catholics who became Catholics later, they're just constantly looking for something that makes them feel real and good about themselves and stuff like that. And him taking the risk of, I mean, maybe he really believes it himself. Who the hell knows? Maybe he really believes in his own religious text, which is, I mean, if you believe in one completely ridiculous thing, you're likely to believe in another completely ridiculous thing, you know? When I was a little kid, I believed in both Santa Claus and Bigfoot. Because there were movies about both telling me, you know, that they may be real. But if they weren't real, why were they making a movie about it, you know? But the Pope coming out and promoting the climate change scam again, not 4 days after another bit of evidence was released that the NOAA had created fallacious data once again, so that at the Paris douchebag jamboree they would have some kind of, you know, platform that something was really going on, some kind of scientific evidence that what they were doing wasn't a complete fallacy. And then the Pope comes out to thwart this bit of real news with his, you know, climate change is a sin. It's a sin. Meanwhile, you hear that in the Vatican City, they're like organizing orgies and shit like that. So, if maybe he sees how successful Islam is, because it's really more of a political ideology than it is a religion, because it is based in expansionism and the the penalty for not submitting to this expansionism is, of course, death. Um, and the Allah God was designed where, you can basically do anything if it is in the service of Allah. Oh yeah, the Pope also came out and said Islam was not terrorism, has nothing to do with Islam. Uh, Apparently, the man has never read the texts of the Sahih al-Bukhari and the Quran, because when you put them together, it spells terrorism in not so ambiguous terms. But yeah, the Pope, he has destroyed more naive Catholic brains than any Pope in recent history, I gotta say. His political posturing, he's trying to create more poor people. I don't know. Extremism is an endless wellspring of irony. I'm actually quoting. Jack Smith quotes himself. Jack Smith quotes himself when there's nobody else to quote because his memory is so bad. The Pope's a bad man. He's a stupid man, and his stupidity makes him a bad man. Terrorism has nothing to do with Islam. I would love for him to try and explain that to ISIS. I would love for them to at least make an attempt on his life. I mean, Jesus, who was it who got shot? Pope John Paul? He was actually kind of an okay dude. Of John Paul II. John Paul I was taken up to heaven by God very quickly for some reason, probably to make room for John Paul II. Who I remember Howard Stern used to do an imitation of him where he talked like a vampire. It was fucking hilarious. But yeah, if Islam, if you're out there, if you would just make an attempt on the pontiff's life, it might put things in perspective for him. And then actually release some sort of manifesto explaining to him that, yes, what you did was for Islam and he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. That would be great. I don't know. Did I just put out a hit on the Pope? No, I didn't. I didn't put out a hit on the Pope. I just suggested to Islam, because both Jack Smith and Islam know that terrorism is about Islam. It's not about anything else. I mean, it may be about a land grab and, power and social power and stuff like that, but the root of it is the formation of the caliphate. It's all about the fucking caliphate. Somehow they think that in all these shitholes they live in out there that are shitholes because of Islam, somehow they think that when they have some kind of world government, that it's not going to be a giant world shithole, just like socialism and its new tool of coercion, Catholicism. All right. I don't have anything. I'm outraged. I'm outraged enough to try and get Islam and the Pope together so they can duke it out and find out what's what. So yeah, in summary, uh, socialism's new tools, Catholicism, and the the interesting combination of Catholicism and science. The global warming is a sin. But wouldn't that mean that going to confession would clear it all up? Jack Smith out.